Hey y'all, on today's edition of Grilling with Granddaddy Daddy, I'm gonna give you a different recipe for a chuck roast. But right now I'm mixing up the broth that I'm gonna inject it with. So let me show you what we're gonna do. Okay, right now I got 1 cup of onion soup mix. I'm boiling some water. I'm gonna put 1 cube of beef bouillon in there. We're gonna let that dissolve good, then we're gonna let it cool some, then we're gonna inject it into our chuck roast. I added my bouillon cube. Now we're just gonna stir it around. We got the water boiling. Just gonna stir it around and get that bouillon dissolved. Soften up those onions from the onion soup mix. And when I inject it, I'm gonna use a big bore needle so that I can get some of that onion inside the meat. It actually works really well. Okay, so I'll check back with you when I'm through with this. Okay, our injection has cooled down enough now that we can use it. We've got our chuck roast in the pan. Now let's do our injecting. Like I said, I'm using a big bore needle so that we can get all the goodie up in there. I'm just gonna work that in there. It might not stay in there, but I do want to get some of it into the meat. And then whatever runs out, that's fine. We're just going to let it be soaking in it. Okay, so we got most of that in there. Now I'm just going to pour the rest over the top. And we had a little bit left in the pan. Let's get it on there too. And we're going to let this soak. We're going to let this just sit for about 4 hours. Let all the juices get up in there. But before we finish, I am going to put some rub on it. So I want to get that done. Give it time to get some goodie out of the rub too. And I'll put the recipe for the rub down in the description. Okay, now we just let it sit. Okay, so we just put our chuck roast on the grill. I'm gonna put a little bit of apple juice down in the catch pan. We're using the snake method. Let's put a little bit of apple juice down in there. I'm going to take the rest of the marinade and just pour it over the top. And it can go down in there as well. It'll give us some moisture. So we're going to cook this using the snake method at 250 degrees for about 2 hours, and then we'll check it. So here we go. Okay, we're at about 150 degrees internal. So now what I want to do is I want to take our chuck roast, and since we've been cooking it indirect, I want to put it over the coals. I'll turn it around a little bit. So what I want to do is put a little sear on it now. We'll let that go for a few minutes. Right now it's been on for 2 hours. Okay. So we gave it a couple of minutes to put a sear on that side. Take this temperature probe out. Flip the roast over. Sear that side. Probably about 2-3 more minutes. Then we're going to cut into it and see what we got. Our chuck roast is done. Let's get it off the grill. See how we did. Okay, so we had our chuck roast on for 2.5 hours. We did it at 275 degrees. I did put a reverse sear on it at the end. Make a couple of cuts here and see what we got. I did go to 160 degrees internal. It's really juicy. You can look at the cutting board and tell that. So we make a couple of cuts here. Okay, now let's see how we do. That's really good. I'm gonna have another piece. So that's my bouillon and onion soup mix injected chuck roast. And it turned out really good. Okay, so that does it for this edition of Grilling with Granddaddy Daddy. The temperature probe that I was using was a ThermoPro TP20S that I bought, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And it has served me quite well. I will put the recipe down in the description. Also, I'm gonna put a link to ThermoPro's website, and if you follow that link and use coupon code ThermoProTeam, you can save 15% on anything you get from ThermoPro. They not only have temperature indicators for cooking, but they also have hygrometers and little weather stations for in your house where you can find out what the humidity is inside, outside, all that. Anyway, give them a look. If you use that code and that link, you save 15%. Other than that, until next time I see y'all at the grill, y'all keep on grilling.